I'm Foxxeel and welcome back to another Age of Wonders Planetfall video where we have the Kirko and the Xeonplague. So with this, this is going to be a video explaining the build of how I built Kirko and Xeonplague, which primarily focus around a debuff called, whoops, why am I in caps? Parasitic Infection. So Parasitic Infection is something that removes a bit of morale, a little bit of damage reduction, but the main part of this debuff is that if a unit does have this debuff, so if they are infected, there's a percentage chance that this unit can turn into a Xeonplague unit. English, come on. So if that does turn into a Xeonplague unit, what it will turn into is this one. Where are we? I think it's Pustule, but I'm just going to call it Pustule because I have no idea how to pronounce that, and it just, yeah, I want to call it Pustule for now. It's a tier 1 unit. It's fairly weak. It only has 40 health. It has 2 melee attacks, and it has skid up because it's a small unit. So it's not too impressive by itself, but where it gets really powerful is that Parasitic Infection, if you have the proper tech unlocked, you can have a Destroyer mutation. So your Pustule can evolve into a Destroyer, or it can evolve into a Plague Lord. Now why this is important is that evolve is different from metamorphosis. So where are they? These units down here metamorphosize. What that means is that when they get to level 5, they change into another unit. But this unit doesn't metamorphosize, it evolves. Which means that if a unit has Parasitic Infection and it dies, there's a percentage chance that your pustules evolve into a Destroyer. And then there's another chance that they can evolve into a Plague Lord. I'm not sure if they can evolve straight into a Plague Lord or if they have to evolve twice. I don't really know how that works. I don't know the specifics, but essentially you can get free units by infecting a unit, killing it, winning the battle, and then having that unit evolve. Now to give you an idea of just how many units you can evolve, if you look at my army stack here, I think I have 14 from memory overlords, plague lords, sorry, not overlords. And these units are very, very powerful. They have a ranged attack, they have like a sniping attack, and they have the ability to bring back units from the dead. Now when they get to level 5, they do have range, +1 range, so normally this attack would be 7 range and this would be 9, but still. Their base attacks also have Parasitic Infection on them, right? So if ideally you want to get these pustules, you want to upgrade them, evolve them as soon as you can, get them to Plague Lords, and then Plague Lords can continue to spread the infection by just their normal base attack. Now, this becomes extremely powerful because you don't need to use production to make units, and you can either A, use the production to make different units to support your Plague Lords, which is my main unit I wanted to choose was the Transcendent, or B, you can use your production to just create a really powerful economy, which then can in speed up your upgrades and speed up the mods you can give to your Plague Lords or your Xeonplague units. Now, in terms of the armies, I only built 3 units, so the main army is Plague Lords and anything that I could infect and evolve. The main units that I built were Transcendents, and I'm going to go through the mods after this. Transcendents, the tier 1 infantry, and where are my... these ones, Engulfers. So Transcendent were my main support unit. Infantry were my main, like, just base infantry unit, so fairly generic. And then the Engulfers were my main range unit. The reason I chose these 3 is that I tried to avoid any unit that had psi damage. So that is your snipers. I had a sniper that have these units, your snipers. I ignored those, and I ignored the late tier units that have psi damage. I did also build the 2 elite units, which is the Ravenous and the Barrager, but the reason I ignored anything with psi damage is because your overlords have primarily biochem. So because majority of my army is biochem, it's the most efficient thing to upgrade your psi last and then your biochem before the psi. But what order you upgrade, I'll touch a bit into. I'll explain a little bit about why and how to build this build. I will do a playthrough which kind of shows me doing this build, but I was just trying to give a general overview of the army. And so you can build these units at the end of the game. Like I built 2 or 3, I think. I built a couple and they're extremely powerful, but they weren't part of the main army that I was using to take the map. Because in this playthrough, I pretty much ended the game at 103, and there's the defeated extreme AI. And with all these resources, I could have built a lot more, like a much more powerful army, but I just stopped building units because as I was winning battles, I was getting more infected units, and the game was just over. You kind of you avalanche. Avalanche is like this momentum that you gain if you can start winning all these battles, especially against like bio armies, so such as Amazons or whatever, Amazons or other Kirko units. It's just infections everywhere. So I'm going to go into a little bit about the tech. So I'd advise you, if you want to try this build, the first thing you want to do is upgrade your regeneration. This is your tier 1 defensive mod that you want to give every unit. The next thing you want to do is upgrade your dispersion. These are your two main mods that are going to help you with your Parasitic Infection. Because at the start of the game, if you infect someone and kill them, unless you've unlocked the Destroyer mutation, you actually can't get the Destroyer. So every single mutation will be pustules. So at the start of the game, I recommend trying not to kill as many units as possible, and wait until you unlock these mods here before you start killing units, because that way you can try and maximize your chance of getting one of these mutations. There's also doctrines you can get, so I'll just go over the doctrines. Biomatter is a doctrine which helps you get infection and forced infection, but this is a late game doctrine, so I won't really look at the doctrines too much. I'll just kind of talk more about the military. So after you've got regeneration, after you get dispersion, the next thing you want to do is just go straight to Plague Lord. Ignore everything else, get the Plague Lord. By the time you have Plague Lord, in your economy tree, you do want to get Biomatter. So try and unlock this doctrine here at the same time you unlock Plague Lord, and then activate them, because that's going to maximize your chances of getting infected units. Because what this doctrine does is you get the chance of evolving is increased by 30% per hero. So once you have this doctrine and you have Plague Lords unlocked, you make sure you have at least one hero in every battle. I generally take 2, maybe 3, as many as you can to the same battle, just to have like maximum chance of getting Parasitic Infections. One of the weaknesses with this build is that if you don't get the infections early, you are very weak because you haven't really produced infantry. You can still produce infantry, but I'll get into that infantry later. So after you get Dispersion, you get a Plague Lord. The next thing you're going to want to do is, depending on how much infantry you want to produce, if you have really good infection rates, like you can get a lot of infected units, go down here and unlock, like finish off your Xenoplague mods, because these mods are extremely powerful. This is your high-end defensive mod. So in the beginning of the game, you want to give every unit that needs a mod to stay alive this mod, fairly cheap, regeneration. At the end of the game, or as you get into the second half of the game, you want to replace that mod with this mod in every single unit. It's just a stronger version of that mod. And this mod here helps bring back units to life. Why is bringing back units to life? Because your Plague Lord can already do it. So what I would do is I would give this mod here to my Plague Lord, and so every Plague Lord can bring back a unit from their own base ability and from their modded ability. So once you get a Plague Lord, that unit can then bring 2 other units back to life. 1, that keeps your army alive, and 2, if you have weak units such as destroyers or pustules who are pretty easy to kill, it's very forgiving for you to be able to bring each one to life twice, because as long as they're bringing them back to life before you end the game, then before you end the battle, then they're not dead. So if you do have good infection rates after your Plague Lord, you want to go straight down to here. If you don't have good infection rates, or you don't have many things around you that you can infect, what I would recommend is unlocking the Engulfer, unlocking just this mod for biochem, and then going back down here, because you still want to focus on infections as your main source of your army, but this is a stronger range unit than your sniper, purely because you're gonna be finishing the biotech tree, the biochem tree, before you finish the psi tree. Alright, so after you finish this line at the bottom, the next thing you're going to want to do is unlock your Ravenous. Do not unlock the last 2 units here. 1, you don't have to build a Ravenous to unlock it, but I would recommend putting this Ravenous upgrade on every single hero, because what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use the Ravenous and Transcendent combo, which is extremely powerful. So I can just show 1 heroes, pick you. No, you're pretty. Yeah, pick you. So this stack here, this unit has 125 health and does a lot of damage, and it's extremely hard to kill, and has a mod that lets it come back to life. When you give that hero Transfer Pain for this mod here, this thing doesn't die. it takes a lot of firepower to kill it, and because this unit can self-heal itself, and you can bring that unit back to life, and you can bring, like, these two units here can bring someone back to life twice each. This becomes extremely powerful, because by the time they do kill him, or they do kill him, then guess what? You have to kill the Plague Lords first. And if you focus on the Plague Lords, which have 125 health, then you're going to die to these things. So, after you unlock your Ravenous, build some if you can. If not, make sure to give it to your heroes. Then you're kind of free to do whatever you want. Then I would recommend finishing off Bio, then finishing off this, then finishing off Psi, but it's kind of up to you. Depending on how you want to mod your army, you're kind of, once you're at this point, you've unlocked all the Xenoplague stuff, you've unlocked this, you're kind of flexible to play how you want. And so by then, like, you're in the build, you're going, and you're pretty much, if you haven't been shut down, and if you have a decent infection rate, you've won the game. Yeah, that's it. So I'll touch into some of the actual units and what mods I gave each unit, just to kind of make it a bit clearer. So with the pustules, the only mod they really need is the mod that keeps them alive. Sorry, one thing I should have said is that when these units evolve, so when this unit changes into a destroyer or a plague lord, it keeps the same mods. So it's fairly safe to just give this unit a generic health mod, because it's going to need that mod no matter what it's evolved to. I also gave the unit a this mod, which gives it Parasitic Infection on attack, just to kind of make it more likely to get that Parasitic Infection. If you take this off, it still has Parasitic Infection, so I'm an idiot. It does give you damage. I should have realized that these units, every unit just has passive Parasitic Infection. Does it? Did I not realize that? I'm so stupid. Anyways, actually no, what am I talking about? This gives it 12 strength. Oh no, that's for one attack. Yeah. So it gives you more of a chance. So it went from 8 strength chance to 12. So you don't need it, but you're more likely to get it. And then I also gave it this mod, which just gives it more health. Because the unit's so easy to kill, I just wanted it to live and evolve. We'll go into some of the other units. So we'll go into Kirko units. We'll start with tier 1. The same thing with this unit, you just want it to stay alive. Don't really need any other mods on it, just keep it alive, let it evolve. Your infantry. When I explain the tech, these are the techs you want to give to your tier 1 infantry. That melee upgrade, which gives it Parasitic Infection, because it doesn't have that base ability by itself. The generic health upgrade, and then this upgrade is Plague Pods, which is essentially the Xeonplague grenade. What it does is it does 8 damage to an enemy unit. If it hits a friendly unit, it does 8 damage, but it also has Parasitic Infection. So it's a really powerful ability that's, well, not really powerful, but it's a good utility ability to have that can heal you or infect other people, like large groups. Those are the only mods you're going to need for that. For this unit, you can give it some stronger mods later in the game as you unlock them, but generally, this unit can last throughout the entire game. Now, it's not going to be game changing, but it's your base unit. One of the most important units for this build, besides the Plague Lords, is the Transcendent. The support ability of the Transcendent is ridiculous. The only thing you need to do is to stay alive. And so, this is the early game Transcendent, which has the generic hard health mod, heal per turn and a little bit of health. Has the plus 10 health, plus some resistances to status effects. And this is a tier 2 mod, so it's still fairly early game. It just lets you heal for 30 and remove negative effects. And it also gives you plus 10 damage. So ideally in an army stack you want at least 1 Transcendent. Ideally 2, because if you have 2 Transcendents, they can sit back, they can heal themselves, or they can heal each other. The Transcendent also has its own healing ability. It comes with its own healing ability. So the first turn is going to absorb pain, the second turn is going to heal itself, and the third turn is going to heal itself. And it can heal for 55. And so absorb pain reduces the damage by 35%, and because you've got to turn 3 with, assumingly this unit not dying, because if you have a second one, you need a second one to heal it, but your units can do a lot of damage in 3 turns. As you get to the end of the game, the late game upgrades I gave to my Transcendents are this, which is the more powerful defensive upgrade. I gave it the ability to bring another unit back to life. So this is a bit more flexible. This is the most important one, but you can either give it the ability to bring someone back to life. This is the generic heal. Another mod I would recommend would be this one. This means when this unit's killed, it comes back with 40% of its health. Now generally it won't actually die if you've upgraded it enough, and it has the heal, but you could still have this mod. So whether you want to make sure that you come back to life, or you want to just make sure you can heal and remove negative resistances, is up to you. It's fairly flexible. I just would kind of build it to stay alive. However you want to do that, just give it defensive upgrades. Do not put anything offensive on this unit. It's not meant to attack. Cool. Next unit, I'm going to go into the... where are we? Kirko Hidden. So this is the sniper. This is the unit that I ignored because I wasn't going to get any psi upgrades until the end of the game. And so it's still like a decent unit. It's still good if you want to have this as your range unit. It still does the job. You could use this unit instead of using the Engulfer, which I kind of recommended to use, but I recommended the Engulfer because you're going to get your biochemical mods before you get your psionic mods. But it's still perfectly fine to use this sniper. Kirko. In terms of upgrades, I only had health, and you can give it the psi upgrades or whatever upgrades you find. Next unit, let's just go up here. Change this. Next unit is your Ravenous. So this unit, I'll go to this one. This unit is just your it's a generic elite unit that is melee. So this ability is pretty powerful. Devour has this 12 strength chance to instantly kill a unit. It doesn't say only works on light or cyborg. Okay, good. I was gonna say you can't kill elite units, which is fine. So if anything that's tier 1, tier 2, 12 strength chance is the highest strength chance you can get. Besides, 12 is the highest. And so healing for 12, killing one unit, pretty strong. But you essentially just want to throw this unit into their back line or into their units just to be very disruptive. Because this unit gets prioritized if you have a Transcendent. If you're auto combating or if you're manual combating, you can just put the Transcendent on Transfer Pain. And this unit, the only mods I gave it was the defensive mod and the bring yourself back to life. I don't think I ever lost any of my Transcendents, my Ravenouses, because the Transcendent would normally die before the Ravenous did. And if the Transcendent did die and this came close to dying, it's turn 5 or turn 6 and I've already wiped out the entire army. And on the off case scenario that this does die, go to a Plague Lord, bring it back to life, problem solved. So you can be a bit more aggressive with your upgrades instead of this defensive build that I went for, which if you were going to be a bit more aggressive, I would recommend Adrenal, which gives you, the more damage you take, you do percentage of stacking damage for melee damage, accuracy, crit. Decent. It's a defensive upgrade, but it's it's so good because it can give you melee damage and crit. Or I'd recommend Tunneling Claws. I should have put Tunneling Claws on it. So if I go here, oh wait, wrong ones. This gives you an ability to, it's like a 7 range, and you kind of tunnel under the ground and you jump up next to a unit and then you're within range. This just lets you get to the back line really quickly instead of running through all the units. So it's really effective if you can tunnel your way into the back line while you have Transfer Pain, because then you're not going to die, essentially. Or if you do die, they have to use every single unit to hit you. They all turn around, you get flanking damage, game over for them. Otherwise, I would keep this unit. I put Parasitic Symbiosis, I think I've said it before, I'm going to keep repeating it, on every single unit. It's just an all-around good buff to have, good mod to have, and yeah. You can feel free to mix this up a little bit more. You can give it, I did give it Parasitic Infection if you want, have 12 strength chance to keep infecting people. Like the more infection the better, but by the time I got to this point in the game, I had so many Parasitic Infection units that they would already be fully infected without modding everything to be Parasitic Infection. Because remember, your Plague Lords and all your Xeno units have your passive Parasitic Infection. The third last is we're going to Baraja since I accidentally skipped them. This is one of the units that you can give absolutely no mods to and it's still very decent. It's all around good unit, it's a long range, does good AoE damage. In terms of damage, the only thing I would give it was the generic defensive mod, again, Parasitic, and anything that just gives it flat damage, which is your late game bio upgrades. Tier 3 bio, tier 3 bio. Pretty straightforward. You can build defensively if you want, but you can come back to life in so many ways and get transferred pain and healed that I don't think this unit needs any defensive upgrades whatsoever. It's going to sit near the back line next to your Transcendent, so it's very unlikely they're going to go for it. They could, but then you'll probably kill their army faster than they can. Or you bring it back to life. The Tormented is essentially the psionic version of the Baraja, whatever that thing is. It does the same thing essentially, it has 7 range and it has another AoE 2 to 9 range. Again, because I didn't have my psi upgrades, I didn't even build this unit. Well, I think I might have built one, but I didn't even give it any upgrades. Still a powerful unit, but just not really fitting for this build. The final unit is the Harbinger? This thing. In English. This unit by itself is still powerful, namely because of these two abilities here. Vengeful Presence, 20% damage for every unit on the battlefield, and Guiding Presence, 20% accuracy. The reason why it's powerful is that because it affects every unit in the game, on the battle I should say, you only need one per stack. So if you have like 2 6 stacks or 3 6 stacks or like a big group, just put one of these units in somewhere in that stack, get these 2 upgrades, and it's just very powerful. The other upgrades that you get in terms of mods, they only affect units within like a 1 hex range. So this unit is very powerful in terms of support. It also does a lot of damage, especially once you upgrade it with its mods. Again, these are the last mods I upgraded, so it does take a while to get there, but once you get there, this is like your icing on the cake. If you have a high infection rate, if you have a lot of units that you're getting, and you're winning battles and you're getting more infected units, you can throw in a couple of these in your stacks, and then this is just like, it really is game over if you get to this point and you haven't been stopped, and you're not versing like a full mech army. So that's covering all the units or the tech. The last thing I'm going to look at is just the heroes. So this is generally what one of your heroes might want to look like. I would recommend putting all of them into this unit. You don't have to. You could unlock all of them and put them into barrages instead if you want a range hero. But again, I would put them in this unit because you want to pair up your Transcendent with the Ravenous unit, and this unit is stronger than the normal unit because you can give it all these upgrades, and because it gets all the skill points. And so again, this is like, it's the same mods. You want the generic defensive mod, come back to life, Parasitic Infection, and this is that other mod that I said, which the more it gets attacked, the more damage it does. The only problem with this mod is that I swear, like they ignore this unit. Like, it's so tanky, they won't even hit it. So like, it is possible to change this mod to something else. Maybe Tunnel would be a better idea, and maybe take some of these defensive mods away purely because they won't even go near this unit. And maybe if I took those mods away, they might actually attack it, but this it's invulnerable as far as the playthrough goes, or as far as the enemies that I verse. Like, it wasn't even funny. I think I only lost one because I made a mistake in my strategic decisions about where to send one of my armies. I split my army in 3 when I should have only split it in 2. Besides the point, extremely powerful. If you don't want to have this unit, this upgrade to put your heroes in vehicles, you can still leave them like this. They are still pretty powerful, but I just don't think they're as powerful. I think the Kirko Xeonplague is one of the combinations where putting your heroes into vehicles is really, really beneficial, especially when you pair them with your Transcendents. So if this army was him and 2 other Transcendents, you could just give him Transfer Pain, give someone else Transfer Pain, and he can just run in and just not die, because you have 2 Transcendents there, and you have 6 chances to get brought back to life. And it's insane, the combination. It's really fun as well, but the other thing is that you need to get your infection rate high, and you need to survive long enough until you get to this point where you've unlocked the Plague Lord, you've unlocked Biomatter, and you do start to get to that point. So the weakness in this build is definitely the beginning. Definitely, because if you're not building any units and you're relying on infection and you don't get any infections, then it can get a bit tricky. However, if you do build momentum and you get to the point where you start winning battles and your army just, every time you win a battle, you add another Plague Lord, you add a couple of units, you become unstoppable. The other thing is that I didn't even realize, but in this build, I didn't use any of these mods because I was just lazy. I didn't think it was necessary. I didn't even unlock them. I stopped researching military because I thought it was a waste of time. This mod here, oh wait, no, where is it? This mod here upgrades one of your pustules into a destroyer, so it can speed up that process. And then you have another mod here, which can create, in addition, adds 2 Xenoplague pustules spawn near a colony. So I got all of those units without using any of those tactical mods. If I was more efficient and tactical, if I had used these tactical mods like as often as I could have gotten 2 Xenoplague per attack, and I could have forced upgrade every single, or as many pustules as I could into destroyers, increasing the chance of getting my Plague Lords even faster. This army would have been even more, like, even more powerful. And this army was so powerful that I stopped producing units about, I don't know when I stopped producing units, but I've got 6,000 energy and almost 400 cosmite. And so the other thing about, you need to have bonus cosmite and energy, because once you infect these units, you need to be upgrading them quite a lot. So I think, so like for example, this unit here, that's not upgraded, because this is a new Plague Lord. It has no experience, it's just become a Plague Lord. When these units evolve, they start back at level 1. So once this unit turns into a Destroyer or Plague Lord, back to level 1. They keep the mods, they don't keep the experience. So I would say Stockpile is another one that's brand new, fresh. Stockpile your energy, another one that's fresh, and stockpile your cosmite. Because each time I get one of these units, if I was to fully upgrade one, it would cost me 60 cosmite. And you can get 1, maybe 2 per battle. Like, it might not be a Plague Lord straight away, but as you upgrade them and as they evolve, and as you have battles like in multiple places around the map, this cosmite can go really quickly. But you can also like not even rely on upgrading them, just leave them like this, don't even give them any mods, and just use your cosmite to produce your powerful units from your actual colonies. So you use your cosmite to produce these guys, you can produce Ravenous, you can produce these guys, but the benefit of getting them infected is that the unit appears where your battle was. So like your reinforcement is right there. That's the end of this video. It went on a bit longer than I intended. If there are any questions, please let me know. I will be releasing the playthrough for this video soon. I do want to play this again, these 2 units, because I've learned quite a bit. But anyway, that's the end of that. Let me know how you play Xeonplague and Kirko. I think it's a really, really strong combination. The Amazons could probably do a similar thing as the Kirko. I'm not sure how well they could do it, but I might try that later sometime. Foxxeel out. Catch you next time.